Nayara could hear the tantrum building before it fully arrived. Emma Marshall, 4 years old and convinced the world revolved around her whims, was standing in the middle of the playroom with her arms crossed and her bottom lip stuck out so far you could balance a penny on it. "I don't want the pink cup, I want the purple cup." "Baby, the purple cup is in the dishwasher." Nayara kept her voice even, patient. She'd been doing this for 2 years now. "Pink cup works just fine." "No." Emma's voice went up half an octave. "Purple." Nayara set the sippy cup down on the toy chest and crouched to Emma's level. The playroom smelled like apple juice and that lavender spray the housekeeper used everywhere. Outside, she could hear the gardener's leaf blower going. Carlos always showed up on Wednesdays around 3. "How about this?" Nayara said. "You drink from the pink cup today, and tomorrow I'll make sure purple cup is clean first thing. Deal?" Emma considered this with the gravity of a Supreme Court judge. Then she sighed like she was doing Nayara the biggest favor of her life. "Fine. Thank you, baby." Nayara handed over the cup and watched Emma plop down in front of her dollhouse like nothing had happened. "Girl, you're gonna be something when you grow up." Nayara wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a concerning thing yet. She straightened up, feeling that familiar pull in her lower back. 26 years old, and already her body was reminding her she'd been on her feet since 6:30 this morning. She'd gotten Emma dressed, made breakfast, cleaned up breakfast, done a load of laundry, taken Emma to her music class in La Jolla, the one in that bougie shopping center where parking cost more than Nayara's lunch, then came back, made lunch, supervised playtime, and now here they were. 3 more hours until Mr. Marshall got home. 3 more hours until she could clock out and drive back to her studio in City Heights, the apartment with the AC that only worked if you hit it just right, the neighbors who played reggaeton at full volume every Friday night, the coffee maker that had been making concerning sounds for the past week. But it was hers. Nayara pulled her phone from her back pocket. 2 missed calls from her mama and a text from her best friend Simone. "Girl, did you see what Keisha posted?" She didn't have time to check. She slipped the phone back and glanced at Emma, who was now making her dolls have what sounded like a very serious conversation about bedtime. "Miss Nayara, why does Daddy work so much?" The question came out of nowhere. Emma was still playing with her dolls, not even looking up. Nayara sat down on the floor next to her, tucking her legs underneath her. Her edges were starting to sweat. It was hot in here. The AC in this house always set too high, but she ignored it. "Your daddy's got a big job, baby. Lots of people need him." "Do you need him?" Nayara blinked. "What do you mean?" "You're always here. Does Daddy help you?" Out of the mouths of babes, Nayara smoothed down the front of her jeans, searching for the right words. "I'm here to help you, Emma. And your daddy. He makes sure we're all taken care of. That's how it works." Emma seemed satisfied with this and went back to her dolls. Nayara stayed on the floor, watching her. The sunlight coming through the windows was that late afternoon kind, golden and slanted. The whole house smelled expensive, that mix of fresh flowers and whatever cleaning products rich people use that didn't leave streaks. She'd been working here for 2 years. 2 years of arriving every morning at 7, letting herself in through the side door Mr. Marshall had given her a key for, starting the coffee maker he never used because he always stopped at some fancy place downtown, getting Emma ready for the day. 2 years, and she could count on one hand the number of real conversations she'd had with Ethan Marshall. He wasn't mean. He wasn't rude. He just wasn't there. "Good morning, Nayara." "Thank you, Nayara." "Have a good evening." That was it. That was the extent of their relationship. She was the woman who kept his daughter alive and happy. He was the man who signed her paychecks. Clean, simple, forgettable. Nayara heard the front door open downstairs. Her stomach did that stupid thing it always did when she heard him come home early. That little flutter of anxiety mixed with something she refused to examine too closely. Daddy. Emma jumped up and ran for the playroom door. "Hold on, baby, let me—" But Emma was already gone, little feet pounding down the hallway toward the stairs. Nayara stood up quickly, brushing off her jeans. She could hear Emma's voice echoing from downstairs, that excited chatter she always did when Mr. Marshall came home. Nayara stayed in the playroom and started picking up toys. Blocks in the bin, books on the shelf. The stuffed animals that Emma insisted needed to sleep in specific positions. She heard his voice downstairs, deep, measured, the voice of someone who was used to people listening when he spoke. "Hey, sweetheart, were you good for Miss Nayara today?" Nayara couldn't hear Emma's response, but she could imagine it. The way the little girl wrapped herself around her father's legs, the way his face softened, the only time it ever did. Footsteps on the stairs, both of them coming back up. Nayara kept cleaning. She was good at this, being present but invisible, helpful but not intrusive. "Miss Nayara," Emma burst back into the room. "Daddy's home." "I see that, baby." Nayara smiled, then looked up. Ethan Marshall stood in the doorway, 41 years old, tall, maybe 6'2", dark hair that was starting to grey at the temples in that way that somehow made white men look distinguished instead of old. He was still wearing his suit, though he'd loosened his tie. The jacket was slung over one arm. He had the look of someone who was tired but couldn't afford to show it. "Mr. Marshall," Nayara straightened up, holding a stuffed elephant in one hand. "Nayara." He nodded. His eyes didn't quite meet hers. They never did. "Everything go okay today?" "Yes, sir. Music class went well. She ate all her lunch. We've been playing for the past hour." "Good, that's good, thank you." There it was. The thank you that meant you can leave now. "Of course." Nayara set the elephant on the shelf. "I'll just finish cleaning up and head out." "Take your time." He was already turning away, his attention back on Emma. "Come on, sweetheart. Let's go see what Rosa made for dinner." They left. Nayara stood in the middle of the playroom, listening to their voices fade down the hallway. She finished picking up the toys, turned off the lamp by the reading corner, adjusted the curtains the way Emma liked them, not too dark, not too bright. Then she grabbed her bag from the chair by the door and headed down the hallway toward the guest room she used to store her things during the day. The house was quiet except for the hum of the AC and the distant sound of Emma's laughter from somewhere downstairs. Nayara pushed open the door to the guest room and set her bag on the bed. She pulled off the cardigan she'd been wearing all day, too hot for San Diego in September, but the AC in this house always made her cold, and reached for the clean shirt she'd brought to change into. She was halfway through pulling her current shirt over her head when she heard the door open behind her. "Rosa, I just need to grab that—" The voice stopped. Nayara froze, her shirt bunched up around her shoulders, her back to the door. Oh, God. She yanked the shirt down as fast as she could and spun around. Ethan Marshall stood in the doorway, his hand still on the handle, his eyes wide with something between shock and horror. He stepped back immediately. "I'm so sorry. I thought Mr. Marshall." Nayara's hands were shaking. She pressed them against her sides. Her face felt hot. Her heart was pounding so hard she could hear it in her ears. "I apologize." His voice was strained, professional, like he was trying to rewind the last 10 seconds and pretend they hadn't happened. "I thought this was the office. I didn't mean—" "It's okay." It wasn't okay. She wanted to disappear into the floor. "It's fine." It wasn't fine. They stood there for one horrible, endless moment. Then he stepped back fully into the hallway. I'll leave you to—" The door closed. Nayara stood there, staring at the place where he'd been standing. Her hands were still shaking. She grabbed her bag and her cardigan and practically ran down the hallway, down the stairs, out the side door to where her car was parked. She didn't look back. Her keys slipped twice before she got them in the ignition. Nayara didn't sleep. She lay in her studio apartment in City Heights, staring at the ceiling, listening to the couple upstairs argue about something in Spanish. The AC unit in the window rattled like it was trying to shake itself loose. Outside, somebody's car alarm went off for the 3rd time that night. She kept replaying it. The door opening. His voice. The way time seemed to stop when she realized he was standing there. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. 2:47 a.m. It was Simone. "You up?" Nayara grabbed the phone. "Yeah." 3 dots appeared immediately. "Girl, what's wrong? You never up this late, nothing." "Can't sleep, liar. What happened?" Nayara stared at the screen. How was she supposed to explain this? She typed and deleted 3 different responses before finally settling on, Long day, We're getting coffee tomorrow. I'm not taking no for an answer. Fine, love you boo, love you too. Nayara set the phone back down and rolled onto her side. Through the thin walls, she could hear her neighbor's TV playing some late-night infomercial. The couple upstairs had finally gone quiet. She closed her eyes and saw Ethan Marshall standing in that doorway. This was bad. Thursday morning came too fast. Nayara's alarm went off at 6, and she seriously considered calling in sick for the first time in 2 years, but that would be weird. That would make it a thing when it wasn't a thing. It was just an accident. A stupid, embarrassing accident that they were both going to pretend never happened. She got up, showered, spent 20 minutes on her hair before giving up and pulling it back into a low bun. She put on her favorite jeans, the ones that actually fit right, and a plain black t-shirt. Nothing fancy. She was a nanny, not a... She stopped that thought before it could finish. The drive to Pacific Beach took 40 minutes in morning traffic. The marine layer hadn't burned off yet, and everything looked grey and damp. She stopped at the 7-Eleven on Garnet for coffee because she'd forgotten to fix her coffee maker. And the one at the Marshall house was one of those fancy Italian ones she'd never figured out how to use. The coffee tasted like burnt rubber, but it was hot and had caffeine, so it would do. She pulled up to the Marshall house at 6:58. The house was one of those modern beach properties that looked like it belonged in a magazine. All clean lines and big windows, and a front yard that was just decorative rocks and succulents because grass was too much work. The Tesla was in the driveway. He was still home. Her stomach did that stupid flutter thing again. Stop it. She let herself in through the side door like always, set her bag down in the mudroom and headed for the kitchen. The house smelled like coffee, real coffee, the good kind. Ethan was standing at the kitchen island with his back to her, scrolling through his phone with one hand and holding a mug with the other. He was wearing a grey suit, no tie yet. His hair was still damp from the shower. Nayara froze in the doorway. He turned around. Their eyes met. For one awful second, neither of them said anything. "Morning." His voice came out rougher than usual. He cleared his throat. "Morning, Nayara." "Good morning, Mr. Marshall." She couldn't look at him. She focused on the coffee maker instead. "Is Emma up yet?" "No, she'll probably sleep another hour." He set his mug down. "Listen, about yesterday." "It's fine." The words came out too fast. "Really, it was just an accident." "I know, but I should have knocked. I wasn't thinking, and—" "Mr. Marshall." She finally looked at him. "It's fine. We can just forget it happened." He studied her for a moment. His eyes were this light grey-blue color she'd never really noticed before, or maybe she had noticed and just never let herself think about it. "Okay," he nodded. "Okay, thank you." "For what? For not making it weird?" "Too late." He grabbed his suit jacket from the back of one of the bar stools and his keys from the counter. "I have back-to-back meetings today. I probably won't be home until 7, maybe later." "Got it. There's leftover pasta in the fridge if Emma wants that for lunch. And she has her swimming lesson at 3. At the plunge in Belmont Park. I know, we go every Thursday." "Right." He paused. "Of course you know. You're—" He trailed off. She waited. "You're really good with her," he finished. "Emma, you're good with her." Something in Nayara's chest tightened. "Thank you." He nodded, grabbed his phone off the counter and headed for the garage door. Then he stopped. "Nayara?" "Yes?" "I really am sorry. About yesterday." "I know." He left. Nayara stood in the kitchen, listening to the garage door close and his car pull away. She counted to 10. Then she let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Emma woke up at 8:15, cranky and demanding pancakes. Nayara made pancakes. The kitchen filled with the smell of butter and maple syrup, and for a little while everything felt normal again. Emma sat at the counter in her Moana pajamas, swinging her legs and talking about the dream she'd had, where she was a mermaid and Nayara was a dolphin. "Why was I a dolphin?" Nayara asked, flipping another pancake. "Because dolphins are nice and smart, and they help people." Emma took a huge bite of pancake. "Like you." Nayara smiled despite herself. "That's sweet, baby." "Miss Nayara?" "Why was Daddy acting weird this morning?" Nayara's hand slipped. The spatula clattered against the pan. "What do you mean?" "He kept looking at you funny." "Funny how?" Emma shrugged. "I don't know. Just funny. Like he was thinking real hard about something." Nayara set the spatula down carefully. "Your daddy's always thinking hard about something. He's got a lot on his mind." "I guess." Emma went back to her pancakes, but Nayara couldn't shake it. "He kept looking at you funny." "No." Emma was 4. She didn't know what she was talking about. The day passed the way Thursdays always did. Pancakes, playtime. A walk to the beach where Emma collected shells she'd forget about by tomorrow. Lunch, the leftover pasta that Emma only ate half of before declaring she was full. Then the drive to Belmont Park for swimming lessons. Nayara sat on the bleachers, watching Emma splash around in the shallow end with the other kids, and checked her phone. Simone had texted twice. "Coffee at 5. The good place in North Park. Not the one with the burnt beans, the other one," Nayara texted back. "Can't today. Working till 7. Tomorrow then. No excuses." "Fine. Tomorrow." She slipped her phone back in her pocket and watched Emma's instructor, a college kid named Tyler who had the patience of a saint, demonstrate how to blow bubbles underwater. Her phone buzzed again. She pulled it out, expecting another text from Simone. It wasn't Simone. "Mr. Marshall, meeting's running late. Won't be home until 8. Is that okay?" She stared at the text. He'd never texted her before, not once in 2 years. He always just told her in person or left a note on the counter. She typed back, "That's fine, no problem." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Thank you." That was it. Nayara stared at her phone for a long moment before locking the screen. This was fine, everything was fine. Emma fell asleep on the drive home, head tilted against the car seat, mouth slightly open. Nayara carried her inside, 28 pounds of dead weight, and got her into bed without fully waking her up. She pulled the covers up, turned on the nightlight shaped like a star, and stood there for a moment watching Emma sleep. This kid, this sweet, stubborn, funny kid who asked too many questions and gave the best hugs and thought Nayara was a dolphin. Nayara closed the door softly and headed back downstairs. The house was quiet, too quiet. Usually by now Mr. Marshall would be home and she'd be packing up her stuff and heading out, but it was only 7:15. She wandered into the kitchen, cleaned up the dishes from Emma's dinner, wiped down the counters, straightened the mail on the island, bills, a magazine, some fancy invitation to something. Then she just stood there. The ocean was visible through the big windows in the living room. The sun was setting, turning everything orange and pink. It would have been pretty if Nayara had been in the mood to appreciate it. She heard the garage door. Her heart jumped. "Stop it." She grabbed her bag from the mudroom and headed for the side door, but she wasn't fast enough. "Nayara." She turned. Ethan was standing in the doorway from the garage, still in his suit, tie loosened, looking tired. "Hey," she said. "Emma's asleep." She ate all her dinner. Well, most of it. She wasn't feeling the broccoli, but "Can we talk?" The question hung in the air between them. Nayara's grip tightened on her bag strap. "About what?" He didn't answer right away, just looked at her with those grey-blue eyes that she was definitely noticing now and couldn't seem to stop noticing. "About the fact that I can't stop thinking about yesterday," he said quietly. Oh no, the AC kicked on. Nayara's mouth went dry. "Mr. Marshall." "Ethan." He stepped further into the kitchen. "You can call me Ethan." "I don't think that's... I'm not trying to make this weird." He set his briefcase down on the counter, ran a hand through his hair. I need to say this. And then if you want to quit, I'll understand. I'll give you 3-month severance and a reference that'll get you hired anywhere in San Diego." "Quit?" Her stomach dropped. "I don't want to quit." "Then hear me out." He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. The sleeves of his shirt were rolled up to his elbows. "Yesterday when I walked in on you, that wasn't... I didn't see anything inappropriate. You know that, right?" She nodded, not trusting her voice. "But what I did see was..." He stopped, looked away. "I saw you. For the first time in 2 years, I actually saw you. And I can't stop thinking about how I've been living in this house with you 5 days a week, watching you take care of my daughter. Watching you make her laugh and calm her down when she's upset, and do all these little things that I should be noticing, and I just didn't. Nayara stood there holding her bag, her keys digging into her palm. You've been invisible to me, he continued, and that's on me, that's my fault, but yesterday I saw you and now I can't unsee you. And I don't know what to do with that. The refrigerator hummed. Somewhere outside, a car drove by. What are you saying? Nayara's voice came out quieter than she meant it to. I'm saying I'm sorry. He finally looked at her again. I'm saying you deserve better than being invisible. And I'm saying that I need to figure out how to be a better person, starting with actually seeing the people around me. That wasn't what she'd expected him to say. Mr. Marshall? Ethan. I can't call you Ethan. Why not? Because you're my boss. She shifted her weight. Because there's a line, and we need to stay on the right side of it. You're right. He nodded. You're absolutely right. They stood there in the kitchen, 6 feet of expensive tile between them. I should go, Nayara said. Yeah. Okay. She headed for the door. Nayara? She stopped but didn't turn around. I meant what I said. You're really good with Emma. She's lucky to have you. Nayara nodded and walked out. She called Simone from the car. Girl, it's 8 o'clock. You okay? Can you talk? Nayara's hands were shaking on the steering wheel. She hadn't even started the car yet. Hold on. Rustling sounds. A door closing. Okay, I'm in the bedroom. What's wrong? You sound weird. My boss just told me he can't stop thinking about me. Silence. Simone? I'm sorry. What? The CEO? The one who barely knows your name? He knows my name. Nayara. Last month you told me he called you Nayara for like 6 months before you corrected him. That was autocorrect on an email. He just... Nayara stopped. That's not the point. Okay. Simone's voice got serious. Tell me exactly what happened. So Nayara told her, all of it. The door, yesterday, the kitchen conversation, the way he looked at her, the way her stomach did that stupid thing. When she finished, Simone was quiet for a long moment. Girl, I know. This is messy. I know. He's your boss. He's white. He's rich. He's got a kid. I know all of this, Simone. And you like him. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. Simone sighed. I can hear it in your voice. You like him. Nayara closed her eyes. I can't like him, but you do. It doesn't matter if I do. Nothing can happen. Why not? Are you serious right now? I just listed like 5 reasons why not. Those aren't reasons, Simone said. Those are excuses. If you like him and he likes you, he didn't say he likes me. He said he can't stop thinking about me. That's different. Is it? Nayara didn't have an answer for that. Listen, Simone said gently. I'm not saying jump into anything. I'm just saying maybe don't run away from it either. Just see what happens. Nothing's going to happen. I'm serious. I know you are. That's the problem. They talked for another 10 minutes about nothing. Simone's latest Hinge disaster, the new restaurant in North Park they wanted to try, whether Keisha's man was actually cheating or just dumb, before hanging up. Nayara sat in the car for a while after, watching the lights come on in the Marshall house. She could see Ethan moving around in the kitchen, probably making himself dinner, probably trying not to think about their conversation. She started the car and drove home. Friday morning, Nayara showed up at 6:55. She let herself in through the side door like always. The house was quiet. Emma would still be asleep. Mr. Marshall, Ethan, her brain corrected before she could stop it, was probably in his home office on a call to New York or London, or wherever rich people did business at 7 in the morning. She made coffee, the regular way, with the cheap coffee maker she'd bought and kept in the pantry, because the fancy Italian one was too complicated. The kitchen filled with the smell of coffee that was mediocre but familiar. She was pouring her second cup when she heard footsteps on the stairs. Her shoulders tensed. Ethan walked into the kitchen wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Jeans. She'd never seen him in jeans. He looked different, younger, less like a CEO and more like a regular person who might shop at Target and forget to take out the trash. "Morning," he said. "Morning." He grabbed a mug from the cabinet, held it up. "Is this the good coffee or the fancy coffee?" "The good coffee." Thank God. He poured himself a cup and leaned against the counter. I can never figure out that other machine. Me neither. The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. They drank their coffee in silence. It should have been awkward, should have been uncomfortable, but somehow it wasn't. It was just quiet. I'm taking Emma to the zoo today, Ethan said after a while. It's supposed to rain next week, so I figured we should go while the weather's good. Nayara blinked. You're taking the day off? Half day. I have a call at noon, but after that, I'm all hers. She's going to lose her mind. She's been asking to go to the zoo for weeks. I know, you told me. 3 weeks ago. He took a sip of coffee. I'm trying to be better at listening. Something in Nayara's chest went soft. Stop it. That's really good, she said. She'll love that. You could come with us, if you want. The offer hung in the air. Mr. Marshall, I'm not trying to blur lines, he said quickly. I just meant Emma would probably like having you there. And it's your day anyway. I'd still pay you, it would just be at the zoo instead of here. Nayara hesitated. Every rational part of her brain was screaming no. This was already complicated. Spending the day at the zoo would make it more complicated. But the irrational part, the part that had noticed his eyes and the way he rolled up his sleeves and the fact that he was actually trying, that part wanted to say yes. Okay, she heard herself say. Yeah, that sounds good. He smiled, actually smiled. It transformed his whole face. Good. Great. We'll leave around 9. I'll get Emma ready. He nodded and headed back upstairs with his coffee. Nayara stood in the kitchen, staring at her own reflection in the microwave door. What are you doing? She didn't have an answer. The San Diego Zoo was packed. Families everywhere, kids screaming, strollers blocking pathways, the smell of overpriced food and animal enclosures and sunscreen. Emma was vibrating with excitement, holding Ethan's hand on one side and Nayara's on the other. Can we see the pandas first? Please, please, please. Pandas first, Ethan agreed. They made their way through the crowd toward the panda exhibit. Emma kept stopping to look at everything. The flamingos, the tortoises, a vendor selling stuffed animals that all looked vaguely diseased. Nayara found herself walking next to Ethan, while Emma ran ahead to press her face against the glass of the hippo enclosure. She's going to crash so hard later, Nayara said. I'm counting on it, hoping for at least a 2-hour nap. Wishful thinking. He laughed. An actual laugh. She'd never heard him laugh before. They reached the pandas. Emma squealed and ran up to the viewing area, pointing at one of the pandas who was lazily munching bamboo. Look at him. He's so fat and cute. Don't call him fat, baby, Nayara said. He's fluffy. Fluffy and cute. Emma pressed her nose against the glass. Ethan leaned in close to Nayara. Is there a difference between fat and fluffy? Apparently. She could smell his cologne, something clean and expensive. It's a whole thing. Noted. They stood there watching Emma watch the pandas, and for just a moment it felt like they were a family. Which was dangerous, which was exactly why Nayara needed to be careful. But careful was hard when he was standing this close and smiling at his daughter, and looking at Nayara like she mattered. Emma turned around, her face glowing. This is the best day ever. Nayara's phone buzzed in her pocket. She ignored it. By lunchtime, Emma had seen the pandas, the tigers, the elephants, and had a full meltdown in the gift shop because Ethan said no to a stuffed giraffe that cost $40. But I need it, Emma wailed. You have 17 stuffed animals at home, Ethan said, crouching down to her level. You don't need another one. But this one is special. Nayara watched from a few feet away, trying not to smile. She'd seen this exact scenario play out at Target, at the toy store in Fashion Valley, at the bookstore in Liberty Station. Emma had a gift for dramatic devastation. How about this? Nayara said, stepping in. We get ice cream instead. And if you're really good for the rest of the day, maybe Daddy will reconsider the giraffe before we leave. Emma's tears stopped immediately. Ice cream? The good kind? With sprinkles? Emma looked at Ethan. Daddy? He stood up, looking at Nayara with something like gratitude. Ice cream sounds good to me. Crisis averted. They found a bench in the shade near the flamingos and ate overpriced ice cream that melted faster than they could eat it. Emma got chocolate all over her face and hands and somehow in her hair. "How does that even happen?" Ethan asked, trying to wipe her down with napkins that immediately disintegrated. "It's a gift," Nayara said, pulling wet wipes from her bag. She always carried wet wipes. "Come here, baby." She cleaned Emma up while Ethan watched, and she could feel his eyes on her the whole time. "You're really good at this," he said. "At wet wipes?" "At everything, with her." Nayara focused on Emma's sticky hands. "I've had practice." "Still." He crumpled up his napkin. "I feel like I'm fumbling through it half the time." "You're doing fine." "Am I?" She looked up at him. He looked tired. Not physically tired, emotionally tired. The kind of tired that came from carrying too much for too long. "Yeah," she said quietly. "You are." Emma wiggled free and ran off to look at the flamingos, pressing her face against the railing. "She talks about you all the time," Nayara said. "At bedtime, during breakfast, she's always asking when you're coming home." "I know. I should be home more." He watched his daughter. "After Claire died, I just threw myself into work. It was easier than dealing with everything. And somewhere along the way, I forgot that Emma was dealing with it too." Claire. He'd never mentioned his wife's name before. Not to Nayara. "I'm sorry," she said. "About your wife." "Thank you." He was quiet for a moment. "It's been 3 years. You'd think it would get easier. Does it?" "Some days." He looked at her. "Some days are harder than others." Emma came running back. "Can we see the monkeys now?" "Yeah, baby," Nayara said, standing up. "Let's go see the monkeys." They stayed at the zoo until 3. By the time they got back to the car, Emma was asleep in Ethan's arms, her head on his shoulder. "Told you she'd crash," Nayara said. "You were right." He shifted Emma carefully as he opened the back door, as usual. They drove back to Pacific Beach in comfortable silence. The marine layer was rolling in, turning everything gray and soft. Nayara sat in the passenger seat. She'd never sat in the passenger seat of his car before, and watched the city slide past. "Thank you for coming today," Ethan said. "I know it wasn't exactly in your job description." "It was fun." She meant it. Emma had a good time. So did I. Something in his voice made her look at him. He was watching the road. One hand on the wheel, the other resting on the center console. His jaw was tight, like he was holding something back. "Mr. Marshall." "I know. Lines. Boundaries." He glanced at her. "I'm trying. I am. But it's hard when—" He stopped himself. "When what?" Nayara's voice came out softer than she intended. "When you look at me like that." Her breath caught. "Like what?" "Like I'm not just her boss, like I'm—" He shook his head. "Never mind, forget I said anything." But she couldn't forget. It was already there, hanging in the air between them. They pulled into the driveway. Ethan carried Emma inside while Nayara grabbed their bags from the trunk. By the time she got upstairs, he'd already laid Emma down in her bed without waking her up, shoes off, stuffed dolphin tucked under her arm. He stood in the doorway watching her sleep. "I used to do this every night," he said quietly. "Before. Claire and I would take turns. We'd stand here and just watch her, make sure she was breathing, make sure she was okay." Nayara stood next to him, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. "She's okay," Nayara said. "She's more than okay. She's happy. Because of you. Because of both of us." He turned to look at her. They were standing too close. Way too close. She could see the gray in his stubble, the tired lines around his eyes, the way he was looking at her like she was the only person in the world. Nayara... His phone rang. The moment broke. He pulled his phone from his pocket, glanced at the screen, and sighed. "I have to take this. It's Tokyo." "Of course, I should probably... Stay, please, just for a few more minutes. I'll be quick." He stepped into the hallway, already answering the call in that professional voice he used for work. Nayara stood in Emma's room, listening to the little girl breathe, listening to Ethan's muffled voice from down the hall. This was getting complicated. This was already complicated. She pulled out her phone. 3 texts from Simone. "How's the zoo? Did he try anything?" "Girl, you better text me back." Nayara typed quickly. Zoo was good. Nothing happened. I'm fine. The response came back immediately. Nothing happened or nothing happened yet. I gotta go. Call me tonight. And I mean tonight. Nayara slipped her phone back in her pocket, just as Ethan came back. Sorry, that took longer than expected. He rubbed his face. I have another call in 20 minutes. I should probably... I'll get out of your way. That's not what I meant. I know. She grabbed her bag from the chair. But it's late and you've got work and I should head home anyway. He followed her downstairs. She could feel him behind her the whole way. Not too close, but close enough that she was aware of every step. At the door, she turned. Thanks for today, she said. Emma really did have the best time. What about you? The question caught her off guard. What? Did you have a good time? She should lie, should say something professional and neutral and safe. Yeah, she said instead. I did. His eyes searched her face. Good. They stood there in the entryway, neither of them moving. Say goodbye. Walk away. Go home. I should... She started. Can I ask you something? He cut her off. And you can say no. You can absolutely say no. Her heart was pounding. Okay. Would you want to have dinner with me? Not here, not with Emma, just... He trailed off. Just us. There it was. The line they'd been dancing around all day. Mr. Marshall, Ethan, please, just for a second, call me Ethan. Ethan. His name felt strange in her mouth. Too intimate, too real. I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Because you're my boss. Because if this goes wrong, I lose my job. Because... She stopped. Because I can't afford to lose this job. I would never fire you, not over this. You say that now. I mean it. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. What if it's a bad idea? She asked quietly. What if we try this and it's a disaster and then everything's awkward and Emma suffers because we couldn't keep it professional? What if it's not a disaster? He stepped closer. What if it's exactly what we both need? She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. He was too close and his eyes were too intense and her brain was screaming at her to walk away, but her body wasn't moving. I need to think about it, she finally said. Okay. He nodded. Think about it. Take all the time you need. Okay. She opened the door. Nayara? She looked back. For what it's worth, he said, I think you're worth the risk. She left before she could say something she'd regret. She called Simone the second she got in her car. Girl, he asked me to dinner. Silence. Hello? Simone? I'm processing. Give me a second. A beat. Okay, what did you say? I said I need to think about it. And I don't know what to do. Where are you right now? Sitting in my car outside his house. Go home, pour some wine, I'm coming over. Simone showed up 40 minutes later with a bottle of Moscato and a bag of Takis. Emergency best friend session, she announced, kicking off her shoes in Nayara's entryway. Kitchen or couch? Couch. They sprawled out on Nayara's tiny couch, the one she'd bought used on Facebook Marketplace, with the wine and the chips and reality TV playing on mute in the background. Okay, Simone said, pouring 2 very full glasses. Start from the beginning, and don't leave anything out. So Nayara told her everything. The zoo, the way he looked at her, the conversation in Emma's doorway, the text message, the dinner invitation. And you said you'd think about it, Simone repeated when she finished. Yeah. Girl. Simone took a long sip of wine. What's there to think about? Everything. He's my boss. He's white. He's rich. He has a kid. People are going to have opinions. People always have opinions. That's not a reason. But what if... No. Simone held up her hand. We're not doing what-ifs. We're doing real talk. Do you like him? Nayara stared at her wine glass. Yeah. Does he treat you right? Yeah. Does he respect you? I think so. Yeah. Is Emma okay with it? She basically told me today that she wants me to live with them. Okay then. Simone set down her glass. Nayara, baby, listen to me. When was the last time you let yourself want something just because you wanted it? Nayara didn't answer. Exactly. You're always thinking about everyone else. Your mama, your bills, that kid. When do you get to think about you? It's not that simple. It never is. Simone's voice softened. But sometimes the complicated thing is the right thing, you know? What if I mess it up? What if I say yes and it's a disaster, and then I lose my job and Emma gets hurt, and what if you say yes and it's amazing? Simone leaned forward. What if this is the thing you've been waiting for, and you almost missed it because you were too scared? Nayara felt tears burning behind her eyes. I'm so tired of being scared. I know. Simone squeezed her hand. So stop. Just for one night. Say yes, go to dinner, see what happens. If it's terrible, we'll drink more wine and talk shit about him. If it's good, she smiled. If it's good, maybe you get something you deserve for once. They sat there in the dim light of Nayara's apartment, the TV flickering, the wine slowly disappearing. He said he thinks I'm worth the risk, Nayara said quietly. He's right. Simone raised her glass. You are. Now the question is, does he know what he's getting into? Because if he hurts you, I will personally drive to that fancy beach house and... Simone, I'm just saying, he better treat you right. You're not just some nanny he gets to mess around with. You're my best friend, you're brilliant and beautiful, and you deserve someone who sees that. He does see it. That's what scares me. That you're seen? Yeah. Simone nodded slowly. I get that. Being invisible is safer. Nobody can hurt you if they don't really see you. She paused. But nobody can love you either. That hit different. They finished the bottle, ate all the Takis, watched 2 episodes of Love Island without paying attention. When Simone finally left around midnight, she hugged Nayara extra tight. Text me tomorrow, let me know what you decide. I will. And Nayara, whatever you choose, I got your back. Always. I know. After Simone left, Nayara sat on her couch in the quiet, watching her neighbor's kid ride his bike in circles under the streetlight. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. It's Ethan. I hope it's okay that I got your number from your employee file. I just wanted to say thank you again for today, and no pressure on the dinner thing. Whatever you decide is okay. Have a good night. She stared at the message for a long time. Then she typed back, good night. She didn't delete his number. Nayara spent the entire weekend thinking about it. Saturday, she deep-cleaned her apartment, scrubbed the bathroom tile, organized her closet, finally fixed that drawer in the kitchen that always stuck. Anything to keep her hands busy and her mind off Ethan Marshall standing in his entryway asking her to dinner. Sunday, she went to church with her mama like she did every week, Mount Zion Baptist in southeast San Diego, the same church she'd been going to since she was 6. Her mama sang in the choir, had been singing in that choir for 35 years, and Nayara sat in the 3rd pew on the left like always. Pastor James preached about faith and taking leaps and trusting God's plan. Nayara tried not to read too much into it. After service, her mama cornered her in the fellowship hall over watery coffee and store-bought cookies. You've been quiet. Lorraine Collins was 62, worked as a nurse at Sharp Grossmont, and had a 6th sense for when her daughter was hiding something. What's going on? Nothing, Mama. Don't nothing mama me. I know when something's bothering you. Nayara stirred her coffee. The fellowship hall smelled like old carpet and pine sol. Sister Henderson was setting up for the youth group meeting, and Brother Davis was complaining about the air conditioning like he did every single Sunday. My boss asked me to dinner, Nayara said quietly. Her mama's eyebrows went up. The white man with the little girl? Yes. The rich one? Yes, Mama. Lorraine took a sip of her coffee. And what did you say? I said I'd think about it. Good, you should think about it. Her mama set down her cup. What do you want to do? I don't know. Yes, you do. You just don't want to say it out loud. Nayara looked at her mama. Lorraine Collins had raised 3 kids on a nurse's salary after Nayara's father died when she was 8. She'd worked double shifts, gone without, made miracles happen with food stamps and prayer. She didn't suffer fools and she didn't believe in playing small. I want to say yes, Nayara admitted, but I'm scared. Of what? Of everything. Of it going wrong, of losing my job, of... She stopped. Of people thinking I'm just the help he's messing around with. Her mama reached across the table and took her hand. Baby, listen to me. You are not just anything. You are smart and kind and you work hard and you deserve good things. If this man sees that, then maybe he's smarter than I gave him credit for. But what if nothing? You can what if yourself right out of every blessing God tries to give you. Lorraine squeezed her hand. If you like him and he likes you and you both are grown adults who can be honest about what you want, then what's the problem? He's my boss. So get another job. Nayara blinked. Mama, I'm serious. You're 26 years old with 2 years of solid childcare experience. You could work for any family in San Diego. You stay there because you love that little girl, and that's beautiful. But don't stay there if it's keeping you from living your life. Nayara sat back. She hadn't thought about it like that. You're allowed to want things, baby, her mama said. You're allowed to take risks. And if it doesn't work out, you pick yourself up and try again. That's life. When did you get so wise? I've always been this wise. You just don't listen. Lorraine smiled. Now come on. Help me set up for Bible study. Monday morning, Nayara showed up at the Marshall house at 7 sharp. She let herself in through the side door. The house was quiet. Too quiet. Usually she could hear Emma chattering by now, or the sound of Ethan's footsteps upstairs. She set her bag down and walked into the kitchen. There was a note on the counter. Nayara had to fly to Portland for an emergency meeting. Rosa is here with Emma. Take the day off. You'll still get paid. She stared at the note. He left. Of course he left. He had a company to run. She couldn't expect him to just be around all the time. But still, after everything, after Friday at the zoo and the almost moment in Emma's doorway and the text message, he just left. Rosa came into the kitchen carrying a basket of laundry. She was in her 50s, originally from Guadalajara, and had been cleaning the Marshall house for 5 years. Oh, mija, you didn't get the message. I got it. Nayara held up the note. He's in Portland. Emergency board meeting, something about a merger. Rosa set down the laundry. He tried to call you last night, but I think it went to voicemail. Nayara pulled out her phone. Sure enough, she had a missed call from Ethan at 10:47 p.m. She'd been asleep. There was also a text. Had to leave town for work. I'm sorry. I know the timing is terrible. I'll be back Wednesday. We can talk then if you want, or not, whatever you decide. She read the message 3 times. That man is very stressed, Rosa said, folding a towel. He doesn't sleep, he barely eats, always working, working, working. She looked at Nayara. But last week something changed. He's been different. Different how? Lighter, like maybe he remembers he's human. Rosa smiled. Emma said he took her to the zoo on Friday. That hasn't happened in 2 years. Nayara felt something warm spread through her chest. You should take the day, Rosa said. Go do something nice for yourself. God knows you deserve it. Nayara ended up at Balboa Park. She walked through the gardens, past the museums and the fountain and the tourists taking pictures. The jacaranda trees were blooming, dropping purple flowers everywhere. The air smelled like eucalyptus and fresh-cut grass. She found a bench near the lily pond and sat down. Her phone buzzed. Simone. So what did you decide? Nayara typed back. He's out of town for work. I won't see him until Wednesday. That doesn't answer my question. I don't know yet, girl, you know. You're just scared to admit it. Nayara stared at her phone. Why did everyone keep saying that? Another text came through. You like him. He likes you. Stop overthinking it. It's not that simple. It literally is, though. What if it ruins everything? What if it doesn't? Nayara locked her phone and leaned back on the bench. A couple walked by, holding hands, laughing about something. A dad was teaching his daughter how to ride a bike on the path. An old man was feeding the ducks, even though there was a sign that said not to. Everyone was just living their lives, taking risks, making choices. When was the last time she'd done that? She pulled out her phone and opened her messages. Ethan's last text was still there. We can talk then if you want, or not. Whatever you decide. She started typing, deleted it. Started again. Deleted it again. Finally, she just wrote, I want to talk. When you get back. She hit send before she could change her mind. 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Okay. Wednesday night. I'll make dinner. Just us. Her heart was pounding. Okay, thank you for giving this a chance. She didn't know what to say to that, so she just sent back, see you Wednesday. She sat on that bench for another hour, watching people live their lives, feeling terrified and excited and like maybe, just maybe, she was about to do something really stupid, or really right. Tuesday passed in a blur. Nayara spent the day with Emma. They made cookies, watched Moana for the 100th time, built a fort out of couch cushions. Emma asked about her daddy twice, and both times Nayara told her he'd be home soon. "Do you miss him?" Emma asked, arranging her stuffed animals in the fort. "Your daddy?" "Yeah. When he's gone, do you miss him?" Nayara's chest tightened. "I think you miss him enough for both of us." "But do you?" How did you explain to a 4-year-old that yes, somehow, in the span of a week everything had changed? That she'd gone from barely noticing him to thinking about him constantly? That she was terrified and hopeful and completely out of her depth? "Yeah," Nayara said quietly. "I do." Emma smiled and went back to her stuffed animals. That night, after Nayara put Emma to bed, her phone buzzed. "Ethan, how was she today?" "Good. We made cookies. She asked about you. What did you tell her?" "That you'd be home soon." "I will be. First flight out tomorrow morning." A pause. Then, "I've been thinking about Wednesday. Me too, nervous, terrified, me too." She smiled at her phone. "Get some sleep. You have a long flight tomorrow." "Yes, ma'am." She could picture him smiling when he wrote that. "Good night, Ethan. Good night, Nayara." She held her phone for a long time after that, staring at his name on her screen. Wednesday couldn't come fast enough, and that scared her more than anything. Wednesday morning, Nayara woke up at 5:30. She couldn't sleep, couldn't stop thinking about tonight, about what she was going to wear, what they were going to talk about, whether this was the biggest mistake of her life or the best decision she'd ever made. She got to the Marshall house at 7. Emma was already awake, bouncing around the kitchen in her pajamas. "Daddy's coming home today." "I know, baby." "Are you excited?" "More than I should be." "Of course." The day dragged. Every hour felt like 3. Emma was extra hyper, probably feeding off Nayara's nervous energy. They played, they colored, they went to the park. Nayara checked her phone every 10 minutes. At 2 o'clock she got a text. "Landed, home in an hour." "Still good for tonight?" "Yes, 7 o'clock. I'll have Rosa take Emma to her sister's for a sleepover." "That works. See you soon." Nayara's hands were shaking. At 3:15, she heard the front door open. "Daddy!" Emma screamed and ran for the entryway. Nayara stayed in the playroom, her heart hammering in her chest. She heard his voice, deep and warm and tired. "Hey, sweetheart, I missed you." Footsteps, coming closer. He appeared in the doorway. Emma wrapped around his leg, and his eyes found Nayara immediately. "Hi," he said. "Hi." They stood there, Emma chattering between them, and Nayara knew she was in trouble. The good kind, the terrifying kind, the kind that changed everything. Emma tugged on Ethan's hand. "Daddy, can we show you the fort we made?" "In a minute, sweetheart." His eyes never left Nayara's. "I need to talk to Miss Nayara for a second." "Okay." Emma ran off. They were alone. "So," Ethan said, "tonight." "Tonight," Nayara repeated. "You can still change your mind." "I know. But," she took a breath. "I don't want to." His whole face changed. Relief and something else, something that made her stomach flip. "Good." He smiled. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. He left to go find Emma. Nayara stood in the playroom, her heart racing. What had she just agreed to? Her phone buzzed. "Simone." "Well?" Nayara typed back with shaking hands. "I'm doing it. Tonight. Dinner." The response came immediately. Finally. "I'm so proud of you. Now go home and find something cute to wear." Nayara left at 5. She had 2 hours to get ready. 2 hours to figure out what you wore to dinner with your boss. 2 hours to talk herself out of running away. She didn't run. At 6:55, she pulled up to the Marshall house. The lights were on inside. This was it. She checked her reflection in the rearview mirror one more time. Then she got out of the car. Nayara stood at the door, her hand raised to knock. This was stupid. She should just use her key like always. But this wasn't always. This was different. Before she could decide, the door opened. Ethan stood there in dark jeans and a grey Henley. Barefoot. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd run his hands through it a few times. He looked nervous. "Hi," he said. "Hi. You look beautiful." Nayara glanced down at herself. She'd changed 3 times before settling on a simple black dress. Nothing fancy, just something that made her feel pretty without trying too hard. Her hair was down, the way she usually wore it on weekends. Small gold hoops in her ears. "Thank you. You look nice too." They stood there for a second, neither of them moving. "Come in," he said finally. "Please." She stepped inside. The house smelled different, like garlic and something Italian. Music was playing, something jazzy and low. "Emma," she asked. "Sleepover at Rosa's sister's house. They're having a Disney movie marathon." He closed the door. "We have the place to ourselves." The place to ourselves. Those words hung in the air. "Can I get you something to drink? I have wine. Or water. Or, I think there's beer somewhere. Wine is good. Red or white?" "Red." He led her into the kitchen. There were pots on the stove, cutting boards on the counter, an open bottle of wine breathing next to 2 glasses. "You cooked?" Nayara couldn't hide her surprise. "I attempted to cook. There's a difference." He poured 2 glasses. "It's nothing fancy. Just pasta with chicken. I figured I couldn't mess that up too badly." "I'm sure it's great." He handed her a glass. Their fingers touched again, and this time neither of them pulled away immediately. "I'm nervous," he admitted. "Is that weird? I feel like I'm 16 again." "I'm nervous too." "Good, so we're both disasters. That makes me feel better." He smiled. "Dinner's almost ready. 5 minutes." She leaned against the counter and watched him move around the kitchen. He was surprisingly comfortable here, checking the pasta, stirring the sauce, tasting something from a wooden spoon. "Claire taught me how to cook," he said, like he could read her mind. "Well, she tried to. I'm still pretty bad at it, but I know enough to not starve. That's more than I can say. I live off frozen meals and takeout." "Really? I thought you'd be good at cooking." "Why, because I'm good with Emma?" She raised an eyebrow. "That's a different skill set, Mr. Marshall." "Ethan, and fair point." He drained the pasta. "I just assumed that black women are naturally good at cooking?" He froze. "No, I just meant you're good at everything else, so I figured—" He stopped. "I'm putting my foot in my mouth, aren't I?" "A little bit." But she was smiling. "It's okay, I know what you meant." "I'm going to need you to tell me when I say something stupid," he said. "Because I grew up in a very white, very privileged bubble, and sometimes I don't realize I'm being an idiot until it's too late. Deal. As long as you promise not to get defensive when I call you out." "I promise." He plated the food. Pasta with grilled chicken and a cream sauce that actually looked decent. They carried everything to the dining room table, which he'd set with actual plates and cloth napkins. "This is nice," Nayara said, sitting down. "I wanted to do something special. This whole situation is weird enough without me half-assing it." She laughed. "Half-assing it. You know what I mean." They ate. The pasta was actually good. Better than good. The chicken was perfectly seasoned. The sauce was creamy without being heavy. "Okay, this is really good," Nayara admitted. "Were you lying about being bad at cooking?" "No, I just followed the recipe exactly. Like measured everything with actual measuring cups. Normally I just throw stuff together and hope for the best." Well, it worked. They talked while they ate. Real conversation, not the surface-level stuff they'd been doing for 2 years. He told her about growing up in Connecticut, about his parents who were disappointed he'd moved to California, about his brother who lived in London and called twice a year if Ethan was lucky. She told him about her dad dying when she was 8, about her mama who worked doubles to keep them afloat, about her older sister who was a teacher in Phoenix, and her younger brother who was trying to make it as a musician in LA. "You're close with your family," Ethan said. "Yeah, we don't have much, but we have each other." She took a sip of wine. "What about you?" "Not really. My parents are—" He paused. "They're good people, but we don't connect. They wanted me to take over the family business, insurance. I wanted to do something different. They've never really forgiven me for that." "That must be hard." "It is what it is." He refilled their glasses. "They met Claire once at the wedding. They didn't come visit after Emma was born, or after Claire died. Just sent flowers and a card. I'm sorry. Don't be. I've made my peace with it." He looked at her. Emma has a family. She has you and Rosa and your mama, who I've heard a lot about apparently. Emma's met my mama. Video call, last week. Emma wanted to show her the fort you guys built. He smiled. Your mother seems wonderful. She is. Nayara's chest felt tight. She thinks I should give this a shot. Us, I mean. Smart woman. She also thinks I'm crazy. Are you? Probably. Nayara set down her glass. This is complicated, Ethan. You're my boss. I take care of your daughter. People are going to have opinions. Let them. Easy for you to say. You're not the black woman dating her white employer. He stopped. You're right. I'm sorry. That wasn't fair. It's not about fair. It's about reality. She leaned back in her chair. People are going to assume things about me, about us. They're going to think I'm using you for your money, or that you're fetishizing me, or that this is some kind of power dynamic thing. Is it? What? A power dynamic thing? Do you feel pressured? Like you can't say no? No? She meant it. If I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be here. But that doesn't mean other people will see it that way. He was quiet for a moment. So, what do we do? I don't know. Be careful, I guess. Keep it private for now. Figure out what this even is before we worry about what everyone else thinks. That sounds reasonable. Does it? No, he smiled. It sounds terrifying, but reasonable. They cleared the table together. Nayara washed while Ethan dried. It felt domestic, normal, like they'd been doing this for years instead of hours. I made dessert, Ethan said. Well, I bought dessert. There's a bakery in La Jolla that makes this chocolate cake that's... The one on Girard? You know it? Emma and I walk past it every time we go to the beach. She always wants to go in. I know, she told me. He pulled a cake box from the fridge. So I got us a slice. 2 forks. They ate cake on the couch in the living room, the plate balanced between them. The jazz was still playing. Through the windows, Nayara could see the ocean reflecting moonlight. Can I ask you something? Ethan said. Sure. When did you know? That you felt something for me, I mean. She thought about it. I don't know if there was one moment. It was more like a series of small things. The way you look at Emma when she's not looking. How you always say thank you, even for little stuff. That day at the zoo when you actually laughed. She paused. When did you know? The door, he said simply. That day I walked in on you by accident. I saw you for the first time, and I couldn't unsee you after that. That's a terrible meet-cute story. I know. He set down his fork. But it's ours. She looked at him, really looked at him, the gray in his stubble, the tired lines around his eyes, the way he was watching her like she was the most important thing in the room. Ethan, yeah? I'm going to kiss you now. Is that okay? Very okay. She leaned in. He met her halfway. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, like they were both afraid of breaking something fragile, but then his hand came up to cup her face, and she leaned into him, and it deepened. When they pulled apart, they were both breathing harder. Wow, he said. Yeah. Can we do that again? She laughed. Yes. So they did. They kissed until the cake was forgotten, and the music stopped, and the only sound was their breathing and the distant crash of waves. When Nayara finally pulled back, her lips were swollen and her heart was racing. I should go, she said. Do you want to? No, but I should. Okay. He stood up, helped her to her feet. Can I see you tomorrow? You'll see me tomorrow anyway. I work tomorrow. You know what I mean. She did. Yeah, tomorrow. He walked her to the door, kissed her one more time, soft and sweet and full of promise. Good night, Nayara. Good night. She got in her car and sat there for a minute, her hands on the steering wheel, her heart still racing. Her phone buzzed. Ethan, thank you for tonight, for taking a chance, for being you. She smiled and typed back, thank you for seeing me. She started the car and drove home, and the whole way she couldn't stop smiling. This was happening. This was real. And for the first time in a long time, she wasn't afraid. The street was empty when she pulled away. Nayara woke up to her phone buzzing. She reached for it without opening her eyes, squinting at the screen. 6:12 a.m. A text from Ethan. Good morning. Coffee's ready when you get here." She smiled before she could stop herself. This was new. This texting good morning thing. This him making coffee for her thing. This whole situation that had shifted from employer-employee to something she still didn't have a name for. She typed back, "Be there in 30. Her apartment was cold. The heater had been making that clicking sound again, the one that meant it was trying but not really succeeding. She pulled on jeans and a sweater, the cream-colored one that Simone said made her look soft, and twisted her hair up into a bun. Her edges needed work. She'd been meaning to get them done for 2 weeks now, but between work and Emma and this thing with Ethan, she hadn't found the time. She grabbed her bag and headed out. The drive to Pacific Beach was quiet. Early morning traffic hadn't kicked in yet. The marine layer was thick, turning everything grey and dreamlike. She stopped at the red light on Garnet and checked her reflection in the rearview mirror. Was she glowing? Simone said she was glowing. "Girl, you're glowing," she'd said on the phone last night. "That man's got you glowing, and it's only been a week. A week since dinner. A week since everything changed." The light turned green. She let herself in through the side door like always, but it didn't feel like always anymore. Ethan was in the kitchen, leaning against the counter with a mug in his hand. He was wearing a dark blue button-down, sleeves rolled up. His hair was still damp from the shower. "Morning," he said, and his whole face did that thing, that softening thing he did now when he looked at her. "Morning." She set her bag down. "Where's Emma?" "Still asleep. She was up late watching Encanto for the millionth time." He poured coffee into a second mug. "I made it the way you like it. 2 sugars, splash of cream." He remembered. Of course he remembered. He'd been paying attention to everything lately. She took the mug. Their fingers brushed. It had been a week, and that small touch still made her stomach flip. "Thank you." "You're welcome." He was standing close enough that she could smell his cologne. "How'd you sleep?" "Good." "You?" "Better than I have in years." He said it so simply, like it was just a fact. And Nayara felt something warm spread through her chest. They stood there in the kitchen drinking coffee, not talking. It should have been awkward. 2 weeks ago it would have been awkward. But now it was just easy. "I have meetings until 3, Ethan said. "But after that I'm all yours. Well, Emma's, you know what I mean." "I know what you mean." He smiled, set down his mug, took a step closer. "Can I—" He stopped. "Is it okay if I—" She didn't make him finish. She closed the distance and kissed him. It was soft, brief, the kind of kiss that said good morning, and I'm glad you're here, and this is real. When they pulled apart, he was looking at her like she'd just handed him the world. "Good morning," he said again. "Good morning." Footsteps on the stairs. Small feet, moving fast. They stepped apart just as Emma came running into the kitchen in her bluey pajamas. "Daddy, Miss Nayara." She crashed into Ethan's legs. "Can we have pancakes?" "Sure, baby." Ethan scooped her up. "But first, how about you give Miss Nayara a proper good morning?" Emma reached out for Nayara, who took her from Ethan's arms. "Good morning, sweet girl." "Morning." Emma laid her head on Nayara's shoulder. "You smell nice." "Thank you, baby." Ethan watched them with an expression Nayara couldn't quite read, something soft and complicated. "I should get to my office," he said. "Conference call in 10 minutes. Go, we've got this." He hesitated at the doorway, looked back. "Nayara?" "Yeah, I'm really glad you're here." "Me too." He left. Emma lifted her head. "Daddy likes you." Nayara nearly dropped her. "What?" "He likes you like likes you." Emma said it so matter-of-fact, like she was commenting on the weather. "Baby, that's not— It's okay. I like you too." Emma wiggled down. "Can we make chocolate chip pancakes?" Nayara stood there in the kitchen, her heart racing. 4-year-old saw everything. The day passed like days had been passing lately, a mix of normal and not normal. Normal. Emma had a meltdown about her socks. Nayara made lunch. They played in the backyard. Emma fell asleep during quiet time with her face pressed against a stuffed unicorn. Not normal. Ethan came downstairs at noon to grab water and kiss Nayara on the forehead without thinking about it. Just walked up, kissed her forehead and went back upstairs, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Not normal. Nayara found herself smiling at nothing. at the way he'd said good morning, at the coffee he'd made, at the fact that this was happening, and it felt right. At 3:30, Ethan came downstairs for real. Meetings are done. He looked tired but happy. "Where's Emma?" "Playing in her room. She's building a hospital for her stuffed animals. Apparently the giraffe has a broken leg." He laughed. Actually laughed. Of course he does. They walked upstairs together. Emma's room was in its usual state of controlled chaos, toys everywhere, dress-up clothes scattered across the floor, the hospital taking up most of the space near her bed. "Daddy, you have to be quiet. The patients are sleeping." "Sorry," Ethan whispered dramatically. "How's the giraffe?" "He's going to be okay. Miss Nayara gave him medicine." Ethan looked at Nayara. "Did you now?" "It was pretend apple juice," Nayara whispered back. "But don't tell him." He was standing close again. Emma was busy with her animals, narrating their recovery in that serious voice kids used when they were playing doctor. "Hey," Ethan said quietly. "After Emma goes to bed tonight, do you want to stay? We could watch a movie or just talk or—" "Yes?" She didn't even think about it. "Yeah, I'd like that." "Good." Emma looked up. "Are you guys whispering?" "No," they said at the same time. "Yes, you are." She went back to her animals. Grown-ups are weird. Bedtime was at 8. Nayara did the routine like always. Bath, pajamas, teeth, story. Tonight, Emma picked The Paper Bag Princess and made Nayara read it twice. "One more time?" Emma asked, already yawning. "Not tonight, baby. You're exhausted. But how about this? You close your eyes and I'll sing you that song you like." Emma considered this. "The one about the mockingbird?" "That's the one." Nayara started singing, soft and low. Her mama used to sing this to her when she was little. "Hush, little baby, don't say a word." The lyrics were simple, but there was something in the melody that always worked. By the second verse, Emma was asleep. Nayara tucked the blanket around her, turned on the nightlight, and stood there for a moment watching her breathe. This kid, this sweet, funny, exhausting kid who asked too many questions and gave the best hugs and had no idea her world was about to change. Because it was going to change. Nayara and Ethan couldn't keep this quiet forever. Eventually, they'd have to tell Emma. Eventually, they'd have to figure out what this meant for all of them. But not tonight. She left the door cracked and headed downstairs. Ethan was in the living room, 2 glasses of wine already poured. She down? Out cold. Nayara sat next to him on the couch. Not too close, but close enough. She wanted me to read The Paper Bag Princess 3 times. That's her favorite. He handed her a glass. Claire used to read it to her every night. There it was. Claire, his late wife, the ghost in the room they hadn't really talked about yet. "Can I ask you something?" Nayara said carefully. "Anything. Does this feel weird to you?" "Us. After—" She didn't know how to finish that sentence. Ethan was quiet for a long moment. "It did at first. When I started noticing you, I felt guilty, like I was betraying her somehow." He took a sip of wine. "But then I realized Claire would hate that. She'd hate knowing I was alone and miserable and not letting myself have anything good." "She sounds like she was amazing." "She was." He looked at Nayara. "And so are you. They're different. You're different. This is different, and that's okay." Nayara felt something release in her chest. "Okay." "Okay?" "Yeah, okay." They sat there, drinking wine, listening to the ocean in the distance. The house was quiet, peaceful. "I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop," Nayara admitted. "For something to go wrong, for this to be too good to be true." "I know the feeling." He set down his glass. "But what if it doesn't? What if we're just 2 people who found something good and we get to keep it? Is that allowed?" "I don't see why not." She leaned into him. He put his arm around her. They stayed like that for a while, not talking, just being. The TV was on, but neither of them was watching it. Some movie with a car chase and explosions that neither of them cared about. "Nayara?" "Hmm? Thank you." "For what?" "For taking a chance on this. On me." She lifted her head to look at him. His eyes were that grey-blue color that she'd memorized by now, tired but content. "Thank you for seeing me," she said quietly. He pulled her closer, kissed the top of her head. They fell asleep on the couch like that, her head on his chest, his arm around her shoulders, the TV playing something neither of them was watching. Nayara woke up at midnight to her phone buzzing. She fumbled for it, trying not to wake Ethan. "Simone. Girl, where are you? You were supposed to call me tonight. Sorry, lost track of time." "Where are you right now?" Nayara looked down. She was still on the couch, still tucked against Ethan, who was still asleep. His house. "It's not like that. We fell asleep watching TV. Sure, Jan, I'm serious." "So it's going good then?" Nayara smiled in the dark. "Yeah, it's going really good. I'm happy for you, boo. You deserve this, thanks, Simone. Now get some sleep and text me details tomorrow. All the details." "Good night." Nayara put her phone down and closed her eyes. Ethan shifted, pulling her closer in his sleep. Outside, the ocean kept going. Inside, the house was warm and quiet. She was happy, terrified, but happy. And that was enough. The wine glasses sat forgotten on the coffee table. 3 weeks later, everything fell apart. It started with a phone call. Nayara was at Target with Emma, letting her pick out a new backpack for preschool, when her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello? Is this Nayara Collins?" A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. "Yes. Who's this?" "My name is Jessica Hartley. I'm a reporter with the San Diego Tribune. I'm working on a story about Ethan Marshall and his company, and I was hoping to ask you a few questions." Nayara's stomach dropped. "I don't have anything to say. I understand you work for Mr. Marshall as his daughter's nanny, is that correct? I'm not interested in talking to you. Ms. Collins, I've spoken with several sources who say you and Mr. Marshall are involved in a romantic relationship. Can you confirm or deny?" Nayara hung up. Her hands were shaking. Emma tugged on her sleeve. "Miss Nayara, are you okay?" "Yeah, baby, I'm fine." She wasn't fine. "Let's get this backpack and go home." In the car, she called Ethan. He answered on the first ring. "Hey, I was just thinking about—" "A reporter called me." Silence. "What?" "A reporter. From the Tribune. She was asking about us, about our relationship." Nayara's voice was shaking. "How does she even know? We've been so careful." "I don't know." He sounded stunned. "What did you tell her?" "Nothing. I hung up, but Ethan, if she's calling me, she's probably going to write the story anyway. Let me call my lawyer. We can—" "Your lawyer?" Nayara's chest felt tight. "This is serious enough for lawyers?" "Nayara, I have to go. Emma's in the car." "Wait." She hung up. Her phone immediately started ringing again. "Ethan." She silenced it. In the rearview mirror, Emma was singing along to the radio, completely oblivious. This was bad. This was really bad. The story came out 2 days later. Tech CEO's secret romance with nanny raises. Questions about workplace ethics. Nayara saw it on her phone at 6 in the morning. Simone had texted her the link with just, "Girl, I'm so sorry." She read the article sitting on her bed, her hands shaking so badly she could barely hold her phone. The reporter had talked to anonymous sources close to the situation. She dug up details about Nayara's employment, about how long she'd worked there, about the timeline of when things had changed. The article didn't outright accuse anyone of anything illegal. It was careful about that. But the implication was clear. Wealthy white CEO, young black nanny, power imbalance, questionable ethics. There was a quote from some employment lawyer about how these situations were inherently problematic and how staff members may feel unable to say no to advances from their employers. Her phone rang. "Ethan," she answered. "Nayara, I can't do this." The words came out before she could stop them. "I can't be the woman who slept with her boss. I can't be that story." "You're not—" "Yes, I am. That's exactly what I am now. That article makes me look like—" Her voice cracked. "Like I'm using you, or you're using me. Like this whole thing is some kind of power play instead of—" "Instead of what?" "Instead of real." She was crying now. "I knew this would happen. I knew people would think this, but I didn't think it would feel this bad. I'm going to fix this. How? You can't unwrite that article. You can't change what people are going to think. Then let them think it. Who cares? I care. Her voice rose. I care because I have to live with this. My family has to see this. Emma's going to grow up and Google her dad and find articles about how he was sleeping with the help. Don't say that. Why not? That's what they're calling me. That's what everyone's going to call me. Silence on the line. I need some space, Nayara said quietly. I need to think. Nayara, please. I'm not coming in today. Tell Emma I'm sick. You can't just... I quit. The words hung in the air. What? I quit. Effective immediately. Her voice was shaking. I'll email you my formal resignation later. I'm sorry. I can't. Nayara, don't do this. We can figure this out. She hung up. Then she turned off her phone, pulled the covers over her head and cried. Her mama showed up at noon. Nayara heard the key in the lock. She'd given her mama a spare key years ago, and footsteps coming toward her bedroom. Baby? Lorraine's voice was soft. You gonna let me in or do I have to break down this door? Nayara opened the door. Her eyes were swollen. Her bonnet was still on. She looked like hell. Oh, baby. Her mama pulled her into a hug. Come on, let's get you some food. I'm not hungry. I didn't ask if you were hungry. I said I'm making you food. They sat at Nayara's tiny kitchen table. Her mama had brought supplies, eggs, bread, orange juice, the good butter from Trader Joe's. I saw the article, Lorraine said, cracking eggs into a bowl. Simone sent it to me. Then you know. I know what that reporter wants people to think. I don't know what's actually true. So why don't you tell me? So Nayara told her. Everything. The dinner. The past 3 weeks. How good it had been. How careful they'd been. How it didn't matter because someone had found out anyway, and now everything was ruined. Lorraine listened while she cooked. Scrambled eggs with cheese, toast with butter. She set a plate in front of Nayara. Eat. Mama, eat first, then we'll talk. Nayara ate. She didn't realize how hungry she was until she started. She finished the whole plate. Better? Her mama asked. A little. Good. Now listen to me. Lorraine sat down across from her. That article is garbage. Anyone with eyes can see it's trying to make something dirty out of something that isn't. But people are going to believe it. Some people will. Some people always believe the worst. That's their problem, not yours. But the things they're saying are not your truth. Her mama reached across the table and took her hand. Baby, I raised you to know your worth. I raised you to stand tall even when people try to knock you down, and I raised you to fight for what's yours. What if this isn't worth fighting for? Is it? Nayara closed her eyes. I don't know anymore. Yes, you do. You're just scared. And that's okay. Being scared is okay. But running away because you're scared, that's not who you are. What if I can't do this? What if it's too hard? Then it's too hard. But at least you tried. Lorraine squeezed her hand. Your daddy used to say something. He said the only way to fail is to not show up. Everything else is just learning. Nayara felt tears sliding down her cheeks again. I quit my job. So, get it back. I told him I couldn't do this. So tell him you were scared and you made a mistake. He'll understand. What if he doesn't? Then he's not the man I think he is, but something tells me he's sitting in that house right now, just as heartbroken as you are. Nayara's phone was still off. She hadn't looked at it since this morning. I need to turn my phone on, don't I? Probably. She turned it on. Immediately it started buzzing. Texts, missed calls, voicemails. Most of them were from Ethan. Please call me. We need to talk. I'm sorry I love you. Nayara stared at that last one. Mama, he said he loves me. And how do you feel about that? Nayara looked at her mama, Lorraine Collins, who'd raised 3 kids alone, who'd worked doubles and gone without, and somehow kept everyone together, who'd taught Nayara to be strong and soft at the same time. I think I love him too. Then stop sitting here feeling sorry for yourself and go tell him that. Nayara showed up at the Marshall house at 3 o'clock. She used her key, walked in through the side door like she had 100 times before. The house was quiet. She found Ethan in his office staring at his computer screen. He looked like he hadn't slept. His hair was a mess. He was still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. "Ethan." He looked up. His whole face changed. "Nayara." He stood up so fast his chair rolled back. "You're here. I'm here. I thought after this morning I thought you were done." "I was. I am. I don't know." She stepped into the office. "I saw your text. The one where you said, 'I meant it.'" He crossed the room, stopped just in front of her. "I love you. I should have said it weeks ago, but I was scared and stupid and I love you too." He stared at her. "You do?" "Yeah, I do. And I'm terrified. And that article is terrible. And people are going to think terrible things about us. But I don't care anymore." She took his hands. "I quit this morning because I was scared, but I'm done running. If you'll have me back..." "If I'll have you back..." He pulled her close. "Nayara, I've been a mess all day. I called you 17 times. I almost drove to your apartment, but I didn't want to push. I thought I'd lost you. You didn't lose me. I needed a minute to remember who I am." "And who are you?" "Someone who doesn't run when things get hard. Someone who fights for what she wants." She looked up at him. "And I want this. I want you, even if it's messy, even if people talk." He kissed her, deep and desperate and full of relief. When they pulled apart, they were both crying. "I'm still quitting, though," Nayara said. "Not because of the article, but because you were right. If we're going to do this, it can't be while I'm your employee. It has to be real." "What about Emma?" "Emma needs a nanny. I'll help you find someone great, someone who'll love her almost as much as I do." She smiled through her tears. "But I'm not going anywhere. I'm just changing jobs. From nanny to... To what? I don't know yet. We'll figure it out." He held her close. "We'll figure it out." The office was quiet except for the sound of them breathing. Outside, the sun was starting to set. Someone knocked on the door. "Daddy?" Emma's voice. "Is Miss Nayara here? Rosa said she saw her car." They pulled apart, looked at each other. "Ready?" Ethan asked. "Ready." He opened the door. Emma stood there in her school uniform, backpack still on, eyes wide. "Miss Nayara, you're back. Rosa said you were sick, but you're here." Nayara crouched down. "Hey, baby, I'm better now." "Good, because I missed you." Emma threw her arms around Nayara's neck. "Don't be sick anymore, okay?" "Okay." Ethan watched them, and Nayara could see it on his face. Love, hope, fear, everything. They'd figure it out. Somehow they'd figure it out. Emma pulled back. "Can we have pizza for dinner?" "Sure, baby. And can you stay? For dinner? Please?" Nayara looked up at Ethan. He nodded. "Yeah," Nayara said. "I'll stay." Emma cheered and ran off to tell Rosa. Ethan helped Nayara stand up. "One day at a time," he said. "One day at a time." They walked toward the kitchen together. Behind them, the office lights were still on. 2 months later, Nayara stood in the doorway of a preschool classroom in La Jolla, watching Emma play with building blocks. She wasn't the nanny anymore. She was the girlfriend. The woman Ethan introduced as, "This is Nayara," without any other explanation needed. The person Emma ran to when she got picked up from school, right after she ran to her dad. It was strange. Good strange, but strange. "She's doing really well," Miss Rivera said, walking up beside Nayara. "Very social, shares nicely, loves art time." "That's good to hear. And you're..." Miss Rivera let the question hang. Nayara had gotten used to this, the question that wasn't really a question, the polite way people tried to figure out who she was and why she was picking up Ethan Marshall's daughter. "I'm Ethan's girlfriend," she said. Simple, clear, true. "Oh." Miss Rivera's eyebrows went up slightly. "That's wonderful. Emma talks about you all the time. She talks about everyone all the time," Nayara said, smiling. "That kid doesn't stop talking." Miss Rivera laughed. "That's very true." Emma spotted her and came running over. "Nayara, look what I made." She held up a painting that was mostly purple with some yellow splotches. "It's you and Daddy and me at the beach. It's beautiful, baby. Can we hang it on the fridge? Absolutely. They walked to the car hand in hand, Emma chattering about her day, about how Mason took her crayon but then said sorry, about how they had goldfish for snack, about how she learned a song about days of the week. Nayara buckled her into the car seat. Emma was getting so big, she'd be 5 next month. Nayara? Yeah, baby. Are you going to live with us? The question came out of nowhere. Nayara's hands froze on the buckle. What? Are you going to live at our house? Like all the time? Because Daddy said maybe you would and I want you to, but I wanted to ask you too. Nayara's heart was pounding. Did Daddy say that? Yeah, last night. He didn't know I was listening, but I was getting water, and he was on the phone with Grandma, and he said maybe you would move in and I should get used to the idea. Emma looked up at her with those big brown eyes. So are you. I don't know, baby. That's something Daddy and I need to talk about. But do you want to? Did she want to? She'd been spending most nights there anyway. She had a drawer in Ethan's dresser, a toothbrush in the bathroom, her shampoo in the shower. Half her clothes were already there. Yeah, Nayara said quietly. I think I do. Emma grinned. Good. Because my room is right next to the guest room, and if you lived there, we could have sleepovers all the time. Nayara smiled and closed the car door. Ethan hadn't mentioned anything about moving in. Not to her, anyway. They were going to have a conversation tonight. Ethan got home at 6. Emma was in the living room watching Bluey. Nayara was in the kitchen making chicken and rice. She'd been teaching herself to cook with YouTube videos, and it was going better than expected. He came in through the garage, loosening his tie, looking tired but happy when he saw her. Hey, he kissed her cheek. Smells good. It's almost ready. She stirred the rice. How was your day? Long. Board meeting ran 2 hours over. He grabbed a beer from the fridge. How was Emma? Good. She made a painting. It's on the counter. He looked at it, smiled. I love it. Very abstract. She said it's us at the beach. I can see it. They stood there in the kitchen, comfortable, easy, like they'd been doing this for years instead of months. Emma asked me something today, Nayara said, keeping her voice light. Yeah. What? She asked if I was going to move in. Ethan froze with the beer halfway to his mouth. She did? She said she heard you on the phone with your mom, talking about it. Ah, he set down the beer. I was going to bring that up. I didn't know how. So you were talking to your mom about it before talking to me? It wasn't like that. She asked if things were serious, and I said yes. And she asked if we'd talked about next steps, and I said not yet, but maybe. He stopped. I should have talked to you first. I'm sorry. Nayara turned off the stove. Are you asking me to move in? I'm thinking about asking you to move in if you want, no pressure. But you're here most of the time anyway, and it seems like maybe. He ran a hand through his hair. I'm doing this badly, aren't I? A little bit. Let me try again. He took her hands. Nayara, I love you. Emma loves you. You're already part of this family. And I know it's fast, and I know we're still figuring things out, but I want you here. All the time. Not just some nights. All nights. Her heart was pounding. What about my apartment? Keep it, sublet it, whatever you want. I'm not trying to pressure you into anything. I want to wake up with you every morning. I want to come home to you every night. I want this to be your home too. She looked at him. This man who'd been invisible to her for 2 years, who'd somehow become everything. I need to think about it. His face fell slightly. Of course, take all the time you need. Not because I don't want to, she said quickly, but because this is a big step, and I need to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons. Not because it's convenient, or because Emma wants it, or because you have a really nice house. She smiled. But because it's what I want. That's fair. He kissed her forehead. No pressure, seriously. Okay. Emma ran into the kitchen. Is dinner ready? I'm starving. Almost, baby. Nayara started plating food. Go wash your hands. Emma ran off. Ethan watched Nayara move around his kitchen like she belonged there. Because she did belong there. He'd known it for weeks. Maybe he'd known it since that night they had dinner for the first time. I'm going to say yes, Nayara said quietly, her back to him. What? To moving in? I'm going to say yes, I just need a few days to wrap my head around it. He crossed the kitchen and wrapped his arms around her from behind. Yeah? Yeah. She leaned back against him. But I have conditions. Name them. I pay rent or utilities or something. I'm not moving in here as your dependent. Deal. And I get to redecorate at least one room. Your house is nice, but it's very beige. He laughed. Deal. And we tell Emma together, properly. Not just let her overhear things. Absolutely deal. She turned in his arms. And you have to promise me something. Anything. If this doesn't work, if we try living together and it's a disaster, you don't get weird about it. We figure it out like adults. It's not going to be a disaster. You don't know that. I do, actually. He kissed her softly. Because we're good at figuring things out. We've been doing it for months. Emma came back. I washed my hands. See? She held them up. Very clean, Nayara said. Let's eat. They ate dinner at the table. Chicken and rice and steamed broccoli that Emma picked at but didn't actually eat. Emma talked about her day, about her friend Sophia, who had a loose tooth, about how they were learning about butterflies at school. Nayara watched them, Ethan listening patiently to Emma's rambling stories, Emma animated and happy. This little family that she'd somehow become part of. After dinner, Ethan did bath time while Nayara cleaned up the kitchen. She could hear them upstairs. Emma singing in the bathtub, Ethan reminding her not to splash. Normal, domestic, home. Her phone rang. Simone. Hey. Girl, I haven't heard from you in 3 days. Are you alive? I'm alive, just busy. Busy with your fine CEO boyfriend? Among other things. Mm-hmm. How's that going? By the way, the article situation settled down? Yeah, people moved on to the next scandal. It's fine now. And you're happy? Yeah. Nayara smiled. I really am. Good. You deserve it. A pause. So, when do I get to actually meet this man? I've been hearing about him for months, and I still haven't seen him in person. Soon. I promise. You better. I need to make sure he's good enough for you. They talked for a few more minutes before hanging up. By the time Nayara got upstairs, Emma was in bed and Ethan was reading her The Pout-Poot Fish. Can Nayara read the next one? Emma asked. If she wants to, Ethan said. I want to. Nayara sat on the other side of the bed. What are we reading? The Pigeon Wants a Puppy. They read together, taking turns with the voices. Emma giggled at all the right parts. By the end, she was yawning. One more? She asked hopefully. Not tonight, baby, Nayara said. You're exhausted. But, how about this? Ethan said. You close your eyes and Nayara will sing you that song you like. Deal? Deal. Nayara sang softly, the mockingbird song. By the second verse, Emma was asleep. They stood up carefully, turned on the nightlight and crept out of the room. In the hallway, Ethan pulled Nayara close. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For being here, for being you, for saying yes. I haven't officially said yes yet. You will, confident, hopeful. She kissed him, soft and sweet and full of promise. I'm going to tell my landlord tomorrow that I'm moving out. Yeah? Yeah, she smiled. Let's do this. Let's do this. They went downstairs, watched a movie on the couch, fell asleep, tangled together. And when Nayara woke up at midnight, still on the couch, Ethan's arm around her waist, she didn't feel scared. She felt home. The moving truck came 2 weeks later. Nayara didn't have much. A bed, a dresser, boxes of clothes, kitchen stuff she didn't really need since Ethan's kitchen was fully stocked. But it was her stuff, and bringing it here made it real. Emma helped unpack, which mostly meant pulling things out of boxes and asking questions about everything. What's this? That's a picture of me and my brother when we were kids. Why is he wearing that funny hat? It was Halloween. He was a pirate. Can I be a pirate for Halloween? Sure, baby. Simone came over to help. She took one look at the house and whistled. Okay, I see you. Living in a whole beach house. Stop it. I'm just saying, this is nice, real nice. She looked around. Where's the man? Office. He's on a call. I'm going to meet him today. Right, you promised. You'll meet him. Relax. They were unpacking boxes in the bedroom, which was now officially Nayara's bedroom too, when Ethan knocked on the doorframe. "Hey, sorry, that call ran long." He saw Simone. "Hi, you must be Simone. And you must be the famous Ethan Marshall." Simone sized him up. "Nayara's told me a lot about you. All good things, I hope." "Mostly." Simone smiled. "I'm going to be honest with you, Nayara's my best friend. She's like a sister to me, so if you hurt her, I will hunt you down. We clear?" "Crystal clear." "Good." Simone's smile widened. "I think we're going to get along just fine." Ethan laughed. "I think so too." They ordered pizza for dinner, ate on the back patio overlooking the ocean. Emma told Simone all about her butterfly project. Simone told stories about her and Nayara in college that made Nayara groan. And then she tried to— "Simone, stop." Convince the professor that her paper was actually brilliant. "I said stop." And he believed her, got an A on that paper. Ethan was laughing so hard he had tears in his eyes. "You're lucky I love you," Nayara said to Simone. "I know." After dinner, after Emma went to bed after Simone left, Nayara and Ethan stood on the back patio. The ocean was dark except for the white foam of the waves. Stars were starting to come out. "This is real, isn't it?" Nayara said. "What do you mean?" "This, us, all of it. It's really happening." "It's really happening." He pulled her close. "How does it feel?" "Scary, good, right." She looked up at him. "Like coming home." "Yeah." He kissed the top of her head. "Like coming home." They stood there watching the ocean, and Nayara thought about how far they'd come. From invisible to visible. From nanny and boss to this. Whatever this was becoming. The waves kept rolling in. 6 months after Nayara moved in, everything changed again. It started with Emma's birthday party. They'd rented out a section of the beach in La Jolla, the cove near the children's pool where the water was calm and the seals sometimes showed up. 20 kids running around in the sand, parents standing in clusters drinking overpriced coffee from the cafe across the street. Nayara was helping set up the cake table when she noticed them. A group of mothers standing by the water, looking at her, whispering. She'd gotten used to this. The stares, the whispers. Most people were polite to her face, but she knew what they said when she wasn't around. "That's her, the nanny. Can you imagine, in your own house? I heard she got pregnant on purpose, trapped him." That last one wasn't even true. She wasn't pregnant. But people loved to speculate. Simone came up beside her. "You okay?" "Fine." "Those women over there are giving you dirty looks." "I know." "Want me to go say something?" "No." Nayara arranged candles on the cake. Number 5. Decorated with butterflies because that's what Emma wanted. "Let them look." Ethan appeared with Emma on his shoulders. "Cake time." "Almost. Need to light the candles." Emma wiggled down and ran to look at the cake. "It's so pretty." "You're pretty," Nayara said, kissing the top of her head. The party was loud and chaotic, and exactly what a 5-year-old's birthday should be. Emma opened presents, played in the sand, got cake all over her face. Nayara took pictures, handed out juice boxes, made sure nobody drowned in the cove. Normal. Almost. Until one of the mothers approached her. It was Jennifer Walsh. Her daughter Olivia was in Emma's preschool class. Jennifer was one of those women who wore workout clothes everywhere and drove a Range Rover and had opinions about everything. "Nayara, right?" "Yes." "I just wanted to say, well, this is awkward, but—" Jennifer glanced around like she was checking for witnesses. "I think it's really brave what you're doing." Nayara's stomach tightened. "What am I doing?" "You know, with Ethan. Dating your employer. I mean, people talk, but I think it's actually kind of inspiring. Like a modern Cinderella story." The words felt like a slap. For a second, Nayara wanted to walk away, to smile politely and let it go like she always did. But then she thought about her mama, about Simone, about every time she'd swallowed her words to make other people comfortable. Not today. "Jennifer." Nayara turned to face her fully. "Can I be honest with you? Of course, this isn't a Cinderella story. I'm not some poor girl who got rescued by a rich man. I had a job. I had my own apartment. I was taking care of myself just fine. She kept her voice level but firm. What happened between me and Ethan wasn't about him saving me. It was about him finally seeing me. There's a difference. Jennifer's smile faltered. I didn't mean... And another thing, you said it's not traditional that Emma has me as a mother figure. You're right, it's not traditional. Her mother died. That's not traditional either. But Emma is loved and safe and happy, and if that makes you uncomfortable... Nayara paused. That sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Jennifer's face went red. I was trying to be nice. No, you were trying to make yourself feel better about whatever judgments you've been making. Nayara picked up a stack of napkins from the table. But here's what you need to understand. I don't need your approval. Emma doesn't need your approval, and Ethan definitely doesn't need your approval. We're a family, a real one, and we're doing just fine. She started to walk away, then turned back. Oh, and Jennifer, next time you want to call someone's relationship a fairy tale, maybe consider that real love is actually about respect, partnership and showing up every day, not about glass slippers and ball gowns. Have a great day. Nayara walked away, her heart pounding, her hands shaking slightly. Simone appeared beside her 30 seconds later, grinning like a maniac. Girl, I heard that whole thing. I am so proud of you right now. I can't believe I just said all that. I can. It's about time. Simone linked arms with her. Jennifer Walsh's face was priceless. She looked like someone had slapped her with a wet fish. Despite everything, Nayara laughed. I might have been too harsh. You were perfect. She needed to hear it. Simone squeezed her arm. You don't let people diminish you. Not anymore. Nayara took a deep breath. Her hands were still shaking, but she felt lighter somehow, like she'd been carrying something heavy and finally put it down. Ethan found her 10 minutes later, standing at the edge of the water watching the waves. Hey, you okay? Yeah, actually, yeah. She smiled slightly. I just put Jennifer Walsh in her place. What? She called our relationship a Cinderella story, said it was inspiring. Like I'm some charity case you rescued. Nayara shook her head, so I told her exactly what I thought about that. He blinked. You did? I did. Simone witnessed the whole thing. She said Jennifer's face was priceless. Nayara took a breath. I told her this isn't a fairy tale, that you didn't rescue me, that you just finally saw me, and that we're a real family, not some unconventional experiment. Ethan's expression shifted. Pride, relief, something deeper. I wish I'd been there to see that. It felt good, scary, but good. She looked out at the ocean. But here's the thing. I know people are going to keep talking. They're going to keep judging, and I worry about Emma, what she'll hear. How she'll feel when kids at school say things about her dad being with the nanny. She won't be embarrassed. She loves you. Now she does. But what about when she's 10 or 15? What happens when kids at school make fun of her because her dad married the help? Ethan froze. Married? Oh no, I didn't mean... Nayara's face felt hot. That just slipped out. I wasn't trying to... Do you want to get married? She stared at him. What? Do you want to get married? To me? Ethan, we're at your daughter's birthday party. This is not the time. When is the time? He stepped closer. Because I've been carrying a ring around for 3 weeks trying to find the perfect moment, and maybe there isn't a perfect moment. Maybe the moment is just whenever we're brave enough to take it. Nayara couldn't breathe. You have a ring? In my car. I was going to wait until tonight, or next week, or whenever I stopped being terrified. He took her hands. But if you're worried about what people will think, let's give them something real to think about. Not girlfriend, not nanny, wife. Ethan, I love you. Emma loves you. And I don't care if people think it's weird or unconventional or whatever. I just care that you're happy, that we're happy. He paused. Are you happy? Yes. Then marry me. It wasn't romantic. There was no bending knee, no sunset, no perfectly rehearsed speech. Just him standing there in the sand with cake on his shirt and desperation in his eyes. And somehow that made it perfect. Yes, Nayara whispered. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. He kissed her. Right there on the beach with 20 kids running around and parents watching. He kissed her like she was the only person in the world. When they pulled apart, Emma was standing 3 feet away with her mouth open. "Are you guys getting married?" Ethan laughed. "Yeah, sweetheart, we are." "So Nayara's going to be my mom?" Nayara's heart stopped. "Baby, I'm not trying to replace your mom. Your mom will always be your mom, but I can be—" "Can I call you Mom?" Emma asked. "Not all the time, just sometimes, when I want to." Nayara felt tears sliding down her face. Yeah, you can call me Mom." Emma threw her arms around Nayara's waist. "This is the best birthday ever." They told people at the party. Some looked genuinely happy, some looked shocked. Jennifer Walsh looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. Simone screamed so loud she scared the seals. "I knew it! I knew he was going to propose. Girl, let me see the ring. Wait, where's the ring?" "In his car," Nayara said, laughing. "He didn't actually have it on him." Man proposed without a ring. Simone looked at Ethan. Bold move. "It seemed like the right moment," Ethan said sheepishly. "He's lucky I said yes." "I'm very lucky you said yes." They got the ring from the car later. It was simple, a single diamond on a gold band. Not too big, not too flashy. Perfect. Nayara's mama cried when they called to tell her, happy tears. "I knew you two would figure it out," Lorraine said. "I knew it from the beginning." "You couldn't have mentioned that when I was panicking," Nayara asked. "Where's the fun in that?" That night, after the party was cleaned up and Emma was asleep and the house was quiet, Nayara and Ethan sat on the back patio. "This is really happening," Nayara said, looking at her ring. "Having second thoughts?" "No, just processing. 6 months ago I was your nanny. Now I'm your fiancé. That's a lot. We don't have to rush anything. We can take our time planning the wedding. I don't want a big wedding." "No?" "No, just family, close friends, something small and real." "I like that." He pulled her closer. "What about Emma? Should she be in the wedding?" "Of course. She can be a junior bridesmaid, or flower girl. Whatever she wants. She's going to want to wear a princess dress. Obviously." They sat there watching the ocean. The same ocean Nayara had watched that first night she'd had dinner here. The same ocean that had been witness to all of it. The fear, the hope, the love. "Do you ever think about that day?" Nayara asked. "When you walked in on me?" "All the time." "Do you think this would have happened if that hadn't happened?" "I don't know, maybe eventually, but maybe not." He kissed her temple. "I like to think the universe was just tired of waiting for me to notice you." "The universe works in weird ways." "Yeah, it does." Her phone buzzed. A text from Simone. "I'm so happy for you I could cry." "Actually, I am crying. I'm crying at Chipotle and people are staring. This is your fault." Nayara smiled and typed back, "Love you too." She put her phone away and leaned into Ethan. His arm came around her automatically. Natural, easy, home. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That I was invisible for so long and now I'm seen, really seen." "You were always worth seeing. I was just too stupid to look." "You're not stupid. I walked past you for 2 years without really seeing you. That's pretty stupid." "Well, you see me now." "I do." He turned her face toward him. "And I'm never looking away again." He kissed her softly. The ocean kept going. The stars came out. Somewhere inside, Emma was sleeping, dreaming of butterflies and birthday cake. And Nayara thought about how sometimes the best things in life start with the wrong door. Later that night, after they'd gone to bed, Nayara lay awake staring at her ring in the moonlight. Ethan was asleep next to her, one arm thrown across her waist. She thought about the article, about the whispers, about Jennifer Walsh calling this a Cinderella story. Maybe it was a Cinderella story, but not the way Jennifer meant it, because Nayara hadn't been rescued. She'd been seen. There was a difference. She'd been taking care of herself just fine, working hard, paying her bills, living her life. And then someone had finally looked at her, really looked, and recognized what had been there all along. That wasn't rescue. That was recognition. That wasn't luck. That was love. Her phone lit up on the nightstand. Another text from Simone. Seriously, though, I'm so proud of you. You took a chance and it paid off. You deserve this. Thank you for always believing in me. Always. Now get some sleep. You've got a wedding to plan." Nayara put her phone down and closed her eyes. Emma's voice drifted through the baby monitor on the nightstand. Sleep talking. Something about butterflies. Ethan stirred beside her. "You okay?" "Perfect. Good night, future Mrs. Marshall." She smiled in the dark. "Good night." Outside, the waves kept coming. Inside, everything was exactly where it needed to be. The ring caught the moonlight one more time before Nayara fell asleep. 2 years later, Nayara Marshall, still getting used to that name, stood in the backyard watching Emma chase fireflies. 7 years old now, missing 2 front teeth, wearing a sundress covered in grass stains. "Mom, Mom, look, I caught one." Mom. She'd been calling her that for a year now. It still made Nayara's chest tight every single time. "Let it go, baby. They need to fly." Emma opened her hands. The firefly hesitated, then lifted into the darkening sky. Ethan came out through the sliding glass door, carrying 2 glasses of wine. He handed one to Nayara and kissed her cheek. "She's going to be exhausted tomorrow." "Good. Maybe she'll sleep past 6 for once," he laughed. "Wishful thinking." They stood there watching Emma run through the grass, her laughter carrying on the breeze. The house behind them glowed warm. Inside, the walls held their memories, photos from the wedding, Emma's artwork, the life they'd built together. It hadn't been perfect. They'd had fights, disagreements, moments when Nayara wondered if she'd made a mistake, moments when the stares and whispers got to be too much. But they'd figured it out, together. "I got a call today," Ethan said, "from that reporter, Jessica Hartley." Nayara tensed. What did she want? To apologize. Said she was doing a series on stories she got wrong and wanted to make amends. He took a sip of wine. "I told her we didn't need her apology, we're doing just fine." "Are we? Aren't we?" Nayara looked at him. Grey streaks in his hair now. Laugh lines around his eyes. Still handsome, still hers. "Yeah," she said, "we're doing just fine." Emma ran up, out of breath. "Can we make s'mores? It's almost bedtime. Please, just one." Nayara and Ethan looked at each other. "One," they said together. Emma cheered and ran to get the marshmallows. Later, after s'mores, after bath time, after stories and songs and one more glass of water, Emma finally fell asleep. Nayara and Ethan ended up on the back patio, their spot, where everything had changed that night 2 years ago. "Do you ever regret it?" Nayara asked. "Taking that chance on me?" "Not even once." He pulled her close. "Best wrong door I ever opened." She laughed. "That's terrible, but true." They sat there in the quiet, listening to the ocean, watching the stars. Somewhere inside, Emma was dreaming, and Nayara thought about how she'd spent so long being invisible, taking care of everyone else, putting herself last, until someone finally saw her, really saw her, and everything changed. "I love you," she said. "I love you too." The ocean kept going. The stars kept shining. And Nayara Collins Marshall, seen, loved home, closed her eyes and smiled. The end. Sometimes love finds you in the most unexpected places. Sometimes it takes the wrong door to lead you to the right person. Sometimes being invisible is just the universe's way of saving you for someone who'll really see you. Nayara and Ethan's story reminds us that love doesn't always look the way we expect it to. It doesn't follow the rules. It doesn't care about what people think, it just is. And sometimes that's enough. What about you? Have you ever been invisible to someone who eventually saw you? Have you ever taken a chance on love even when it seemed complicated? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening to Nayara and Ethan's story. If their journey touched your heart, reminded you that being truly seen is one of life's greatest gifts, or made you believe in taking chances on love, even when it's complicated, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Your support means everything. Every like, every comment, every share helps us bring more stories like this to life. Stories about real love, real struggles, and real people finding their way to each other.